Hello to all you wonderful people. I want to thank you for coming to listen to a little bit of what I have to say today about the practice of Ayurveda and how this beautiful wellness system can be applied to one's life in order to find the most balanced state within our mind, within our soul, and within our body, so that those three elements of our physiology can come together and work for us as opposed to against us. The practice of Ayurveda, or the science of Ayurveda, dates back practically 5,000 years. The rishis, or the ancient seers of India, went on a quest, not a quest outside of the body, but a quest inside of the body. And they went into highly meditative states and investigated that inner intelligence, that inner beingness that floats around inside each and every human being and inside each and every thing that exists in the world today. The seers of ancient India were living at a time where it was an oral tradition. Stories were passed down. At a point, these verbal stories is the best way to say it, statements started to be written down, and that's where we get some of the most ancient and profound texts that come out of India, which are called the Vedas. People came around and started to codify or bring together those bits and pieces into medical texts, or one of those, which is a text that we use a lot in, or mainly in Ayurveda, is a man called Charaka, and his reading of the Vedas and bringing together of that work is known as the Charaka Samhita. And Ayurveda in general has been, like a lot of things, floated in and out of the zeitgeist throughout history. In the 1980s, Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, the founder of Transcendental Meditation, took his beautiful understanding of the inner intelligence of the body and began to look at Ayurveda, work with some of the leading Vaidya's who were still practicing this ancient craft in India, and began to bring it back out into the zeitgeist. We have tools in our Ayurvedic toolbox that allow us to work with people to determine what their prakriti is, what their constitution, how they're manifesting now in the world. We also have the ability to really calculate or look at what their vikritis are, what kinds of conditions or things that they're dealing with in their body, in their mind, in their current state, in their current manifestation. Foundational philosophy, which is Samkhya philosophy, the enumerating principle, that out of nothingness comes somethingness. And as things emerge out of, to use a word from Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, the transcendental state, things become a little bit denser and a little bit denser, and the whole world starts to manifest. It's called the five Mahabhutas, which are basically the five elements. And the five elements of air, space, water, fire, and earth are the foundational principles in how our whole world, our whole system begins to combine into different beautiful manifestations of that life force energy. Fall into different categories. And in Ayurveda, we have Vata, Pittas, and Kaphas, or a combination of those. The Vata types, we have air and space coming together. So these people are airy and spacey. Then we have our pittas, which are fire and water. And our pitta types are those more robust, muscly kind of go-getters, those athletes, those people who are fire types who are just go, 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 go. And then we have our kapha types. And our kapha types are our more, I like to call them the Mother Earth types. They're slow, immobile, harder to motivate, a little bit on the heavier side, just more unctuous, kind of earthy people from an Ayurvedic perspective. Darshana, which is the observation of a client, is key. It's going to tell us a lot about them. We have Parshana, which is questioning. When we ask people questions, what information are they giving us back? And then we have Sparshan, which is touching. The bodies often have stories that they're telling that the client doesn't even know exists. We have a practice which is called Nadi Vigyan, which is pulse diagnosis. And we can get into really specific readings of not only the doshas, which we talked about earlier, but each dosha has a sub-dosha. So each dosha is broken down into 5 categories. Down in the different parts of our fingertips, we have our pranavata, our upanavata, our samanavata. So we have different ways of determining what's really going on specifically, individually, in the clients that we work with, and as possible, so that we can tailor our suggestions, our herbs, our lifestyle changes, our dietary changes, our supplemental changes to that person in a very specified and balanced way for their constitution or their prakriti. Let's make it simple. Ayurveda is really based on the pairs of opposites. And those pairs of opposites make a lot of common sense. If something is hot, we want to cool it down. If something is unctuous and sticky, we want to loosen it up. And the gunas are pairs of opposites in Ayurveda. And these pairs of opposites really help us to create beautiful, simple ways of helping individuals achieve more balance. So if we just make things simple and we say, okay, how can we find more balance? Then wellness begins to grow and wellness begins to flourish. I would say one of the most important tools in Ayurveda is working with people on their digestion. How is our body, how is our Agni, as we call it in Ayurveda, doing its job? Is it processing the food and the material that we bring into our body? Is it processing that properly? Is it creating? Now, if our Agni is working at its apex, we are going to get the nutritive juice that we need to process and support all of our bodily tissues. We go from our blood plasma to our most refined reproductive tissue. And as our body digests the food that we put into it, each one of these systems has to digest its nutrients, thus creating a finer substance for the next, a finer substance for the next, a finer substance for the next. At the very end, we are going to be left with the finest essence in the body. In Ayurveda, we call this ojas. And ojas is that energy. It's a substance, but it's also just our beingness. It's our beauty. If our Agni, our digestion, is not working at its apex, we have, again, the pairs of opposites. We have the opposite of ojas, which is ama. Ama is undigested, unprocessed material that begins to get stuck in the body, begins to clog all of our channels. This point in our system is where a lot of our conditions that we deal with, as far as something that's causing us dis-ease, manifests in the body. And in Ayurveda, now our lifestyle choices, not only am I rushing while I'm eating, but am I getting the proper exercise? Am I getting the right type of exercise? Am I getting the right sleep? Sleep is another really important factor in Ayurveda. If our circadian rhythms are off, we are not going to properly digest the material, the information that we brought into the body. At night, our brain digests the information that we have put into it. Like I said before, the doshas don't only exist in the creation of human beings, but the doshas are in segments of the day. There are times when we are in our vata time of day. There are seasons when we're in our pitta season. So this system is malleable and it works into every aspect of what it means to be human. Like I've often said to my clients, Ayurveda is the owner's manual to the body that we're not given at birth. Something that I am very passionate about and very interested in getting all of the clients that I work with into investigating is meditation, using the transcendental meditation techniques laid out by Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. This system of meditation is simple, it is effortless, it is not easy, and it is profound. And meditation 20 minutes twice a day is something to work towards. It's a lifestyle habit and a lifestyle boost that each and every individual really needs to consider doing. Responsibility. There is no magic pill to change you. The magic to change you exists within you. But I just wanted to close today and read to you a quote that Maharishi Mahesh Yogi stated. And it's, every day is important for life. Not all life needs to be sacrificed for the sake of some future hope. Present is more important. Every day is important. Every moment is important. Every time is important. If we slow down, if we take the time each day to reflect on ourselves, we can find more balance and create the future that we all deserve and want. So thank you for listening to my talk today, and I hope you will come back and listen to more in the future. Sat Nam.